Most people are asleep while they're awake. They wake up in the morning, they go through the motions, they check their phone, they go to work, they complain, they come home, they eat, they scroll, they sleep, and then they repeat. And deep down, there's a voice inside of them that's screaming, this is not the life you were meant to leave. It's time to wake up. Wake up to the truth that you are not here just to survive. You're here to live, to grow, to give, to love, to create. You're here to become everything you're capable of being. But that doesn't happen by accident. It happens the moment you decide that you will no longer settle for less than the life you deserve. Talents, energy, vision, potential. But if you don't wake up, those gifts die inside of you. Too many people go to their graves with their music still inside them, with their dreams unfulfilled, with their greatness unused. Don't let that be your story. Don't let fear or comfort or excuses rob you of the life you were meant to live. It's time to wake up to the fact that life is short. You don't get forever. You don't get endless tomorrows. You get today, you get right now. And if you're not living with purpose, with passion, with urgency, then you're wasting the most precious resource you have, time. So stop hitting the snooze button on your dreams. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one you create when you finally wake up and take action. Ask yourself, what do I really want? Who do I want to become? What's the life I know I'm capable of living? Every single day with the determination to move closer to it. Because here's the truth. Once you wake up, once you stop sleepwalking through your days, once you decide to live fully, you become unstoppable. Your energy changes, your focus sharpens, your confidence grows. And you start to experience the joy, the love, the fulfillment that was waiting for you all along. So this is your moment. This is your call. Life is knocking. Your potential is waiting, and your future is begging you to rise. Don't go back to sleep. Don't leave small. Don't waste another day. It's time to wake up and become the person you were born to be. Most people don't even realize they're asleep while they're awake. They live the same day over and over like a loop, stuck in routines that steal their passion and blind them to possibility. They wake up, they check their phones, they go to work, they complain, they come home, they eat, they scroll, they sleep, and then they repeat. And while they are doing this, their dreams, their hunger, their spark is dying inside of them. Life becomes mechanical, automatic, predictable. And with every day that passes, they drift further from the life they were born to live. You know this is true because you've felt it. You've had that whisper in your heart telling you there's more for you, telling you this cannot be all there is. But most people silence that voice. They drown it out with distraction, and they call it normal. Normal is not living. Normal is sleepwalking. When I say it's time to wake up, I don't mean just opening your eyes in the morning. I mean open your soul to the reality that you were not put here just to survive, just to pay bills, just to go through the motions. You were put here to live, to expand, to create, to grow, give, to love, to make an impact. And none of that happens when you are numbed out by routine. The tragedy is not that people die. The tragedy is that most people never live in the first place. They never wake up to the extraordinary power within them. And so they leave this world without ever tasting what life was truly about. They have to make a decision to wake up from comfort. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Comfort tells you it's okay to stay where you are, to just enough to live in patterns that feel safe but suffocate your potential. Comfort whispers that tomorrow will be the day you change. Tomorrow you'll start. Tomorrow you'll go after it. But tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is how people waste their lives. Wake up and realize that the life you want doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. It comes from shaking yourself out of autopilot, demanding more from yourself right now. Every morning you open your eyes, you've been given a gift, another day, another chance to live fully. The question is, are you awake enough to see it? Are you awake enough to break free from the routines that keep you small? Are you awake enough to finally listen to that voice inside that's been calling you to rise? Because the moment you truly wake up, you stop existing and you start living. You stop settling and you start creating. You stop drifting and you start steering. But only if you're awake enough to claim it. You've been given a gift that most people never fully use, your potential. Inside of you is more strength, more creativity, more courage, more love, more ability than you've ever tapped into. But the truth is, potential means nothing if you stay asleep to it. Most people never wake up to who they really are. They settle for the version of themselves that's easy, the version that doesn't scare them. And because of that, they live small when they were designed to live big. They operate at 30% of who they are, maybe 40% on a good day, and they convince themselves that's all they've got. But deep down, they know there's more. You know there's more. You've had moments where you felt unstoppable, moments where you surprised yourself with what you could handle, moments where you achieved something you thought was impossible. That's not a fluke. That's who you really are. The problem is most of the time we put ourselves back to sleep. We shrink to fit into other people's expectations. We quiet our voices because we're afraid of judgment. We lower our standards because we don't want to fail. And every time we do that, every time we choose fear, comfort over courage, we bury our potential a little deeper. Waking up means refusing to let that happen anymore. It means deciding that you will no longer play small, no longer pretend you have the ability, no longer deny the gifts inside you. Because the world doesn't need another person just going through the motions. The world needs you awake, alive, on fire, living your full capacity. When you wake up to your potential, you realize that you're not defined by your past. You're not limited by what people said you could or couldn't do. You're not trapped by the mistakes you've made or the labels you've been given. All of that is just a story, and you get to rewrite it the moment you decide to. Potential is about possibility. It's about asking, what am I really capable of if I stop holding back? And the answer is always more than you think, more than you've shown, more than you've dared to imagine. But here's the key, potential is useless without action. Waking up to it means you don't just recognize it, you use it. You stretch yourself, you push past the fear, you take risks, you dare to fail. Because failure isn't the opposite, potential, failure is the doorway to it. Every time you challenge yourself, every time you demand more, you unlock a little more of the giant inside you. That's how potential becomes power, by being used, by being lived. So don't just wake up in your body, wake up in your spirit, wake up in your mind, wake up to the truth that there is a version of you waiting to be unleashed, a version that is powerful, passionate, and unstoppable. That version's already inside you. All you have to do is wake up and claim it. One of the most dangerous illusions people live with is the idea that they have time. We act like we're guaranteed tomorrow, like we'll always have another chance, like someday we'll finally get around to living the life we've been dreaming about. But the truth is, time is the most precious resource you have, and it is slipping through your fingers every single day. Every hour that passes is one you will never get back. Yet most people sleepwalk through their days thinking they have forever, and by the time they realize the truth, it's too late. The graveyard is full of dreams that never happened, books that were never written, businesses that were never started, relationships that were never healed, all because people thought they had more time. It's time to wake up to the reality that your life is happening now. This moment right here is all you truly own. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not promised. The only time you can take action, the only time you can change, the only time you can live fully is now. But if you keep postponing, if you keep saying someday, you will wake up years from now realizing that someday never came, and that regret will be the heaviest pain you'll ever carry. You need urgency. You need to feel the fire of time passing, because that fire is what will push you to stop waiting and start living. Think about how many dreams have you put on hold because you believed you could do them later. How many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll change when things calm down, you'll after when the timing is better. That's the trap of time. There's no better time. The perfect time will never come. The only time you have is now, and if you don't use it, you lose it. Waking up means realizing that life is not a rehearsal. This is it. This is the only shot you get. You can't hit rewind. You can't get back the years you've wasted, but you can make a decision today that the rest of your life will not be wasted. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will treat time like the gift it is. You will stop giving it away to distractions, to fear, to procrastination, to things that don't matter. You will stop letting it slip by unnoticed, and instead you will use it to create, to love, to grow, to serve, to become. When you live with urgency, when you understand how precious time is, you stop sleeping through your days. You wake up, you take action, you make every moment count. And that's when life begins to feel alive again. Because now you're no longer drifting through time, you're directing it. Every transformation in your life begins with a single decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a vague intention, but a real committed decision. The moment you say, this is it, no more excuses, no more waiting, I'm changing this now, everything shifts. Most people never wake up because they never make that kind of decision. They dabble, they try, they test the waters, but they don't commit. And without commitment, nothing sticks. Without decision, your potential remains asleep. Think about it, the quality of your life is the quality of your decisions. Today is the result of choices you've made in the past. Some of those choices empowered you, others disempowered you. But the future you create depends on the decisions you make right now. You can choose to stay the same, to keep playing small, to keep repeating the same patterns, or you can choose to break free, to demand more, to raise your standards. That's the power of decision. It wakes you out of wishing and into action. But here's the key, a true decision is backed by action. If you say you've decided, but you don't change your behavior, you haven't really decided. You've just stated a preference. Real decisions cut off all other options. When you decide to get healthy, you don't keep living like before. When you decide to build your dream, you don't keep putting it off. When you decide to transform your life, you take immediate, massive action that proves you mean it. That's when momentum begins to build. People wait for clarity before deciding. They think, once I know the whole path, once I feel ready, then I'll decide. But that's backwards. Clarity doesn't come first. Decision comes first. The moment you commit, the path starts to reveal itself. The moment you say yes, opportunities show up, resources appear. People come into your life who wouldn't have if you had stayed undecided. It's as if life is waiting for you to wake up. And once you do, it rises to meet you. Wake up to the power you have in your choices. You don't need to change everything overnight, but you do need to decide who you're going to be and what you're going to stand for. Stop telling yourself you can't. Stop waiting for permission. Stop letting fear make your choices for you. Fear will always try to lull you back to sleep, to convince you it's safer to do nothing. But safety is an illusion. Growth only happens when you decide to step out, to risk, to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. At the end of the day, life changes in a moment. The moment you decide, that's when you wake up. That's when you stop drifting and start driving. That's when the life you've been dreaming of stops being a fantasy and starts becoming a reality. Every single one of us was put here for a reason. You're not just a random accident, just here to pay bills, go through routines, and then leave this world unnoticed. Deep down, you know there's more to your life than surviving day to day. There is a purpose inside you, a calling that's been whispering to you, maybe even shouting at you, but you've been too distracted, too afraid, or too busy to listen. It's time to wake up to that purpose, because when you live without purpose, you're like a ship without a compass. You drift. You may keep yourself busy. You may even look successful on the outside, but inside you feel empty because you're not living the life you were meant to live. Purpose gives meaning to your struggle. It turns pain into power. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. Without purpose, challenges feel like punishment. With purpose, those same challenges become fuel. Think about it. When you know why you're doing something, when you know what you're fighting for, you'll endure almost anything. A person with a strong enough why can overcome any how. But if you don't know your why, the smallest inconvenience can make you quit. The tiniest resistance can stop you, and your life becomes a cycle of starting and stopping, chasing and quitting without ever building something that truly matters. Passion is the spark that lights up that purpose. It's the energy that makes you come alive. When you're passionate about what you're doing, you don't need to be pushed, you're pulled. You're drawn forward, and the work feels less like a burden, more like a mission. But passion fades when it's not tied to purpose. That's why so many people feel drained in life.
They've lost connection to what excites them, what drives them, what makes them feel alive. Waking up means reconnecting to that passion, reigniting that fire, refusing to settle for life that doesn't stir your soul. But here's the truth: purpose is not found in comfort. It's not found in playing it safe.
It's discovered in the moments you stretch, when you step into uncertain yourself. Your purpose is bigger than just you. It's about impact, about contribution, about using your gifts to make a difference in the lives of others. When you live only for yourself, your world feels small. But when you live with purpose,
your world expands, because now your life is about something greater. Ask yourself, what is it that makes you come alive? What would you fight for even if you failed 100 times? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Waking up to your purpose means deciding that your life is too precious to waste on things that don't matter. Your energy, your choices with what truly fulfills you. Because at the end of the day, success without purpose is the ultimate failure, and fulfillment without passion is impossible. Wake up to the truth that you were made for more and start living like it today. There comes a point in life when you must stop waiting.
Stop hesitating and stop doubting, and instead step fully into who you are meant to be. Waking up isn't just about awareness. It's about becoming unstoppable. It's about shifting from living like a passenger to becoming the driver of your destiny. Most people let fear, excuse, and circumstances run their lives. They wait for permission.
They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for things to get easier. But nothing changes until you decide that no obstacle, no setback, no opinion of others will stop you. That's the mindset of someone who is truly awake. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you'll never face fear. It doesn't mean you'll never fall. It means you refuse to let fear dictate your future. It means you fall, you stumble, you even break at times, but you get back up every single time, stronger, smarter, and hungrier. Resilience is the secret ingredient of greatness, and it only shows up when you've woken up to the truth that life will test you. Those tests are not here to destroy you, they're here to shape you. Every challenge is a weight, and like lifting weights in the gym, it's the resistance that builds your strength. Without resistance, you stay weak. With it, you become unstoppable. What makes someone unstoppable is not talent, luck, or even resources. It's hunger. It's the burning desire to grow, to achieve, to contribute, to live fully. Hunger wakes you up in the morning and keeps you going when others quit. And hunger doesn't come from comfort. It comes from deciding you will no longer tolerate a life of mediocrity, that you will no longer settle for less than what you're capable of. When you live with that hunger, with that relentless drive, the obstacles don't disappear, but you stop being intimidated by them. You start seeing them as stepping stones instead of roadblocks. The truth is, nobody's going to hand you your dream. Nobody's going to show up and say, here's the perfect opportunity. That's not how life works. You must create the path. You must take action when it's hard, when it's messy, when it doesn't look perfect. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, they didn't get there because it was easy. They got there because they refused to quit. They stayed awake, alive, hungry, unstoppable, long after others had given up. Waking up means deciding that no matter what life throws at you, you will keep moving forward. You will rise above the fear, the doubt, the failures, and use them as fuel. You will stop being controlled by your circumstances and start creating them. That's what it means to be unstoppable. Not that the road is easy, but that you will not stop walking it until you reach your vision. And when you live that way, when you embody that mindset, you don't just wake up, you wake others up too. You become a light, a force, a living example of what's possible. Life is not waiting for you. The clock is ticking, the days are moving, and the question is simple: are you awake, or are you sleepwalking through your own story? Because the truth is, no one can shake you awake except you. I can inspire you, I can challenge you, I can push you, but ultimately it's your decision whether you open your eyes and start living fully. You were not created for mediocrity, you were created for growth, for contribution, for greatness. And greatness doesn't happen when you stay comfortable, it happens when you rise up, when you wake up, when you finally say no is enough. This is my life. Waking up is about more than changing habits. It's about changing your state, your story, and your standards. Your state is the energy you bring into every moment. If you live tired, defeated, and numb, you will never access the power inside you. But if you wake up your state, if you ignite energy, passion, you will approach life with a completely different force. Your story is what you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible. Some of you have been asleep because you've been living in a story that says you're not enough, you're too broken. It's too late, but that story is a lie, and the moment you wake up, you can decide that your story is one of strength, one of resilience, one of becoming unstoppable. And finally, your standards are what you're willing to accept. Most people are asleep because they've lowered their standards. They've accepted less than they deserve, less than they're capable of. It means raising those standards, saying, never again will I live beneath what I know I'm capable of. Never again will I play small. When you live awake, everything changes. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop being a prisoner of fear and start being a warrior of faith and action. You stop drifting through life and start directing it with clarity, passion, and power. And when you do that, not only does your life transform, but you also become a catalyst for others. You become the proof that it's possible. Your courage wakes up courage in someone else. Your hunger sparks hunger in someone else. Your decision to live fully inspires others to do the same. But here's the thing, you can't just hear these words and go back to sleep. Inspiration without action is just entertainment. This is the moment to decide. This is the moment to commit. This is the moment to wake up. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for permission. Wait for certainty. Wake up now and live the life you were created for, because the world doesn't need another dreamer asleep at the wheel. It needs you fully alive, fully awake, fully unleashed. It's time. It's always been time. The only question is, will you wake up?